Welcome to Hip Hop Now Podcast. If you're from the future, you know what to do. Get your ass out of here. Don't disrespect the legend. Hip hop is here to stay. Let's get right into the business. What up, y'all? Welcome to another episode of Hip Hop Now Podcast Reviews. I am your host, Vegas, of Hip Hop Now Podcast, and we are reviewing the final season of Wu-Tang: An American Saga series on Hulu. That if you're a hip hop head, I mean, you should at least check it out. A couple episodes, something like that. But all this season, I've been bringing on a guest per episode to kind of talk about the episode, talk about their history as a fan of Wu-Tang, whether you were a fan from day one or a brand new fan, it does not matter. And also those who watch the show as we review the episodes in its final season. My guest today, you've probably seen him on another one of my podcasts. I think you were on, what was it? Hip Hop Twitter? That Time in Hip Hop? One of them joints.
Probably That Time in Hip Hop. I'm not sure if I made it on Hip Hop Twitter, but one of them joints.
Right, one of them joints. Also, Apartment 5B podcast with the homie Kill. He also has his own thing going on called Freed Styles.
Yes,
tell you a little bit more about that. Eddie, what's good, man?
Yeah, was good, Vegas. Yeah, man. Freestyle, that was a little side thing, man. I started right about the pandemic, man, when everything was shut down. At that time, Tracy Lee was working on his project and just kind of coordinating, kind of helping him promote it, kind of got me into there's all these independent artists, who are dropping projects, not getting much buzz. Let me do something to kind of help promote it. So, I started posting videos, started posting reviews, got a website. The website's not up now. It's being revamped. It'll come back. But, I was doing all of that. And, I still got a social media presence with that as well. Still, posting, reposting and all that. But, yeah, man, that's what it's about. Promoting and supporting, the indie artists.
Yeah, that's really dope, man. That's a dope concept because there's so many people who, like Eddie mentioned, got some really dope music out, beats, raps, whatever it may be, that are just, hustling their music on social media, or streaming platforms. And it's a very crowded space. So it's dope to see that there are people out there who are willing to basically create a platform to help promote them, to help get them exposed, however big or small. So that's really dope, man. All right. So obviously, to those watching, Eddie is a hip hop fan.
Yes, sir.
Obviously, if you look behind him, he's a Wu-Tang fan. Eddie, tell me about the first time you heard the Wu. What were your impressions, and what did you think about the debut album 36 Chambers once you finally got it?
Okay, so the first time, I would say this. I know most people heard like Protect Your Neck and stuff. Like I was probably a little late to that, to be honest. But the first single I heard was METHOD, man. Like,
wow, right.
I heard that joint, and I remember my cousin was playing it, and I stopped. And I was like, "Yo, what is that?" She was like, "That's Method Man by the Wu-Tang Clan." I was like, "Yo, I need that." So she told me where to find it and all that, and so wound up getting my copy and just loved, like, just from the jump, man, just absolutely loved it. The grittiness of it. Like, I know a lot of people say this, it didn't sound like anything else I heard before. Like,
true.
Straight off the bat with the kung fu samples. You know what I mean? Right. You got all these different voices. I would say, like, at first, you had a couple guys who were like, all right, they sound a little similar. But overall, most of the clan members sound really distinct. You know what I mean? You
Right.
got all these different styles, like between, Deck and Ray and Jizza and Method Man and ODB, of course. You know what I
Right.
mean? So I remember, like, gosh, I was probably still in middle school at the time, and I remember going to school, and all the kids were like doing the chess boxing
The skits.
kind of, yeah,
Right. Right.
yeah, like it was everywhere. Like you just could not escape it. So
Mm.
yeah, man, I became a big Wu head after that. Like everything, whether it was features, something on all the soundtracks joints that they released.
Right.
I had to cop all the soundtracks. I had all the solo albums. Like I'll say, I stopped short at all of the affiliates. You know what I
The
mean? I
funky.
didn't get all. I didn't get all the affiliates. You know what I mean?
Right. Right.
Maybe like the Capadonna and stuff, but like some of them affiliates, I was like, nah, I ain't mess with that.
Right. The flunkies, as Nori put it,
The flunkies.
elegantly. So let me ask you this: yeah, the first time you hear the Wu is Method Man, which is a solo record.
Right.
Were you kind of shocked by how many dudes were actually in this group once you got the album, or was it more of the gift that keeps on giving, because not only do you like this dude, they got all these other guys you like?
Yeah, I mean, I think, because when I heard Method Man right there listing out all the clan members, at the beginning of that joint, so I'm like, okay, I knew there was more members. Obviously
Right.
this was like a solo joint, and you hear a couple of them like kind of do their little ad libs at the
Right.
beginning and end, right? I think even before I heard the whole album, after I heard Method Man, I think I heard Protect Your Neck after that, because they were like, yeah, listen to this too. And
Right.
then after that, I heard the album. But I mean, I was a little surprised it was so many and so many different styles and personalities and all that, right?
Right.
And to have that whole album, right? No features. I mean, obviously you don't need features, right? It's like 9
Right.
members.
Right.
You know what I mean? But yeah, man. It just felt different. Like no one was doing that. Like you had groups, but not like that.
Not like that. Yeah, that the reason why I asked is because I was in I guess most people, but after doing these episodes, everybody has a different experience.
Right.
But for me, I was the reverse, because the first time I heard Wu was Protect Your Neck, and it was the video. So not only was I hearing the record for the first time, I was seeing the members as their name popped up. So I already had the introduction. I was surprised when I heard Method Man, because I was like, wait a minute, this the group, but he got a solo joint? Like, that was kind of unconventional to me. So it was like, it's sort of dope to hear everybody's story about how they got introduced to the Wu. Some people heard shadow boxing first, you know what I'm saying? Stuff like
Right.
that. One guest, Nika, she was in a whole nother country
Wow.
when she got put onto it. And that wasn't even based off of hearing it on the radio. That was just people reacting to it, who somebody came back from the States with one of the records. So it's pretty dope to see how different people were introduced to the Wu and how they responded. Now, when you heard Hulu was making a television series out of the Wu-Tang Clan, what were your thoughts and your first impressions when you saw like cast members or a trailer?
Right. I mean, I was a little nervous. You know what I mean? I'm like, I hope they don't butcher this. But I think for me, and I tell the people, like, I'm gonna watch every episode, anyway. You know what I mean?
Right.
There's some episodes in the series I really enjoy. Others I'm like, but I'm watching everyone anyway. I mean, as far as the casting, there were certain castings that I was like, yo, that's cool. And then others like maybe didn't make any sense. And, I was wondering if the individual members of the group had a lot of say in it. I know there was a couple of Wu members that were like co-executive producers, right?
Right.
Or like I want to say Meth was one, and was Ghost. I can't remember. There was like three, I want to say, that were also listed on the credits. Yeah, as being involved in the production and all that.
Right.
So I'm sure they had a say. I mean, I think for the most part, for the most part, they got it right. And everyone talks about RZA, and I just think the actor just overdoes it. You know what I mean? Overdoes it. Like I don't know if you saw the interview with Raekwon when he was asked about it. He was asked. Yeah, there was an interview. I think it might have been on Vlad or whatever. And I don't watch Vlad, but I was interested because they said they asked Raekwon about the actor that plays RZA, and he was like, "Yeah, like he's like he definitely overdoes it." He was like, "Honestly, I don't even think he sound like the Abbott at all. Like I don't." He don't. You know what I mean? And apparently he's a good. I can't think of any of the actual stuff he's been in, but everyone says, no, he's an accomplished actor and all this and that. But he's the one that it's like it always grates on my nerves. You know what I mean?
Right. Because you when you're a fan of a hip hop group or a person for so long, you know them intimately. Right. You know what I mean? And so when there's somebody who's supposed to, even if he can't sound like him, embody who he is, it just doesn't always connect. You just know he's the RZA, but you don't feel like he is RZA. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like I think like the first season when he was Bobby, right? It was cool because I'm like, all right, this is Bobby. This ain't the RZA. Once he became the RZA, like once he became the Abbott, the RZA, now we got different expectations. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, it's the same thing I have with Ghost's character or the actor, right?
Right.
I think he probably has the personality down, but he's just missing what makes Ghost, right? Like he's missing the reason why Ghost talks like that. Like it's not just a slang thing, right? It's not just a hip hop thing. It's who he is. It's like it's his being. For him to not describe something like normal humans is what Ghost is, right? Be like, oh, Ghost, microphone. Yo, give me I got some darts for that dart boy. You like, do you mean raps for the microphone? Like, but that's what we love about him.
Right, he's eccentric. He's eccentric. Like, and they show that eccentricness with ODB. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like they portray that really well. And some of the other members, I think they got Raekwon down pretty good.
Yeah, Raekwon is probably the closest to being flawless.
Yeah,
they're gonna get because he has everything, literally everything Ray does. Yeah. Body movement, everything.
Yeah. So yeah, and I thought actually, like when you talk about the casting, I thought initially before I saw it, I thought that was the best casting. Before I even saw it, I was just thinking that in my head, and it's holding up to be true. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's definitely come out to be that. So, all right, so you find out that Hulu has this series, and you're willing to check it out. You made a plan to watch every episode. First 2 seasons. Did you like what you saw?
Yeah. For the most part, I thought the first season was really interesting. Just with the background, you know what I mean? Because that's the part we didn't see, you know what I mean? And so with that, I was like, yo, like just seeing how Ghost and Ray were like trying to kill each other, you know what I mean? Like going at each other, like the relationship with Cherie being the sister and all of that, and the family dynamic between RZA and Jizz'S and ODB. and how the other clan members, came in the fold, and how they had their own kind of relationships, whether they were slanging in the hallways and spitting raps for each other while they were waiting, to do their deals, whatnot, or all of that. And it was dope, you know what I mean? And just kind of seeing that, like, where they came from, and for a lot of characters you see the character development, right? And even for non-clan members, right, like folks who are involved in the business, like Power and Divine, you see, how they got involved or dragged into it, and how they evolved, and using their street savvy and all that to help the clan, to help the business, you know what I mean, get all that rolling. So I thought that was the second season. I'm trying to remember. I mean, second season was pretty much like leading up to the first album, right? I mean, so
it was pretty much,
and then ending with the flood.
Get to that.
Yeah.
What'd you say?
And then ending with the flood.
Yeah, then ended with the flood after all the after them making it, so to speak.
Right. So I mean, that was more, like I said, more development. I mean, I think the hard part about this season, like this new season, is like it's more of what we already know, and so it's like we kind of are a little bit more critical, right? The first season, it's a lot of stuff we didn't know,
Right.
I mean, you could read the books and all that stuff, but you still don't feel as close to it as you do with, like, the music and the album releases and your favorite clan members kind of coming to their own, Yeah,
that's true, because when you think about it, that first season, I know what I liked most about it was it was almost no different from watching The Wire or Snowfall, right? It was just a block, people, one guy happens to make beats, one dude works, that Statue of Liberty, everybody sell drugs, they're beefing. Like, it was more the neighborhood dynamic. It just so happens that all of these guys rap, on the side. And RZA knew that, which I thought was, like, really dope. And like you said, when you look at season 2, it's more like them trying to come together to do this thing as a unit, and united, and obviously having the success. So now with season 3, what do you think of the season so far? Because we only got a couple of episodes left.
Yeah, I mean, I think overall, it's a little hit or miss here, right? But the episodes I really like. I like the behind the scenes on the business side. I like seeing some of the internal struggle. Right now they're getting big, right? They got their own solo, or most of the clan members, like, you see them getting their own solo albums, and how that's working, how that's changing the dynamic. So I really like that. And that's why, like, the ODB episode was cool, but it was like, I'd rather see more of the behind the scenes, you know what I mean? Same with the Ghost and Ray episode. I'd rather see, actually, if they could show how they made the album, how they get the features, you know what I mean, that they did, the Nas feature, and all that, how they come up with the different concepts and all of that, right? Because they kind of tease it, but instead of showing it, they go into this kind of story,
right? Like this metaphor for the process of creating this album, which for those watching this episode we're going to review is another one of those.
It's another one of those
episodes.
Yeah.
All right. Well, if you are watching and you don't know by now, it is a review, which means there will be spoilers. If you don't care, hang around, subscribe, hit that like button, comment on anything we're saying. We respond. I even like a comment or two here and there when people are really engaged in a conversation. So I encourage you to comment, but also to get me to 300 subscribers because it's really close. I think I only need 4, so so it should be easy enough considering a lot of people who watch don't always subscribe. So
Right.
subscribe if you like this kind of content.
That's a no-brainer, man. Subscribe, man.
Right.
You're watching right now, stop, hit the pause button, subscribe.
Right. Or you don't even, if you on one of these, you can watch and just be, oh, I like this. Boom.
There you go.
Right. All right. So now we're going to review episode 8. It's entitled Liquid Swords. It is written and directed by the RZA. This is the third allegorical. If you've, like, yo, what do you mean allegorical? It's the movie like shit that they do. Okay. Is that a simple enough explanation? But nevertheless, this is the third of and I think final. And matter of fact, I know it's the final.
It's the final
episode like this. Like Eddie mentioned earlier, they did it for ODB's album, they did it for Cuban Links, and now they're doing it for Jizz'S classic album, Liquid Swords. Let's just start right at Tizza. So this episode is about the making of Jizz'S album Liquid Swords, but more of the focus is on the fact that he didn't want to put out an album that didn't feature any clan members or featured other people beyond the clan, right? Not the affiliates, which some did show up, but he wanted to bring people back to the fold as far as the Wu as a unit. As you can see, if you've been watching this season, people are starting to be everywhere. Method Man is just missing out this motherfucker until this episode. So Eddie, just in general, did you like this episode?
I did. I think it was my favorite allegorical episode. So I feel like it ties in, not only ties in with the theme of the album, and there's more that we'll get into with that, but it also ties in with what was going on leading up to it, right? Like Jizz's like, all right, I need to get my clan members on it. They were all MIA. Like the only one who comes through is Deck, and Jizz is like, yo, I need my clan member. You know what I mean? Divine's like, nah. We got to turn into this album. Why don't you go work with D'Angelo? Which Easter egg, if y'all that know your Wu-Tang, that Cold War remix featuring D'Angelo. So it's kind of like an Easter egg on there. But yeah, man. And anyone who's heard this album know it wouldn't be the same without all them Wu features. It just wouldn't be the same.
You are 1000% correct, because the first time they teased this, notion of the album coming out without those members, I'm like, damn, would I have liked it as much? You know what I mean? Because I feel like the performances that I remember, right? Even ODB with Duel of the Iron Mics, that resonates, with me with this album. Ghost's verse on the album, like Fourth Chamber, Meth. The amount of times Meth appears on this album,
I think like 3 times at least.
Yeah, like 3 times. Meth is on here on hooks, everything.
Right.
So I think Jizza was right, because I think it brought back what we felt about 36 Chambers. And in a lot of ways, and for those watching, it wasn't as if when ODB and Purple Tape came out, there weren't clan members, just not in a way that there was on 36 Chambers in here, where every song was a potential Wu collaboration of some sort. What did you think? One of the things, like, well, let me just say this for those watching. I had said this before I even knew it. I said it to my wife, and I was like, for this to be the Wu, and for them to have allegorical episodes, even dating back to the second season, they ain't do nothing kung fu yet. Like I just didn't
Right.
understand it. I was like, wait a minute, when are they gonna? And this was the perfect episode to do that.
Absolutely.
What did you think about the scoring? Because I thought it was fantastic.
I thought it was. I thought it was great. I mean, I took a note regarding. I think they want to. I think they used 7 joints of the album throughout, and a couple of them were just like the instrumentals playing in the background.
Right.
But between that and the performances, it was like total of 7 joints, and it just fit perfect.
Yeah,
So I definitely liked it.
Yeah, it's sort of like they took the beats that you knew, and it wasn't just a breakdown of a sample, right? Oh, we took the drums out. It was like they played it up for a score, even though
Right.
it's cold world. You know what I mean? And I really like that part. Now, the whole thing with Jizz'S is I got to get the Wu members back together as a team to spread Wu-Tang joy or whatever the hell they was doing throughout the world. It looked like they was freeing white people for a minute. I was like, it's nothing but white people coming out the projects.
Yeah, it's a foreign Voltron, right?
right. Which, if you watch enough kung fu movies, that is one of those traditional storylines where you got to go to this town to get the drunken master. You got to go to this town to get the flying guillotine dude. And us kung fu fans used to eat that up because we just wanted to see, the different styles, which I thought was pretty dope. What did you think about that? Well, let me add this too. Let me see if you got this also. There was the kung fu theme, right, with the trying to get the different members. But was it me, or was there a little bit of a hint of the Warriors influence in this episode? The movie The Warriors, for those who don't know. Not the Ghost.
Yeah. No, I definitely did think because I would notice in different themes. So when they had them chicks that kind of got them drunk or drugged, dragged them away, and they were kind of like their own little gang. And then when they were out there with Freddie Gibbs and them, like that felt like a whole other scene, right?
Like 2 other gangs, yeah.
But then also, like, I was peeping how the theme of it, right? So with them chicks, it was kind of representing the over sexualization in hip hop,
right?
And then with the scene with Freddie Gibbs, it was like the gratuitous violence, because when that whole scene starts and you got the shells falling and all that.
Well, Eddie, I'm not gonna hold you. When I first saw it, I was like, "Is this like reggaeton versus trap? Like, I don't understand what's happening." Like, it was like mad Puerto Ricans and then mad dudes from the South and bullets forward from the sky. I was like, "What's happening? Like, what the hell?" I was really struggling to figure it out. But you make a great point because those are the underlying themes, right? Like when the chicks showed up, all I could think of was like, okay, well, that's where hip hop is going commercial wise. That's why ODB is under their fucking spell because he did the joint with Mariah.
Right. And they were playing fantasy in the background.
Because they were playing fantasy. I was like, yo, they foul. One other thing that kind of that I know it was a Warriors reference was Cherie.
Yeah.
On the mic, sending out a signal.
Word.
That
Good point.
Straight from the Warriors, which is dope. First of all, a big shout out to the character of Cherie. They literally use her to say what era of hip hop it is by how they dress her, and it's always on point because it reminds me of everybody I know. Like, oh shit, I don't know about the hairdo. I think RZA had that hairdo before, but well, I guess it was Afro Puffs in a way, just not too Afro Puffs.
Yeah, it was Afro Puffs. Yeah.
All right, so now what did you think the whole notion of getting all of, like, obviously it was a lot of metaphors and Easter eggs embedded in this show or this episode, but did you think they or RZA pulled off the kung fu-ness of the travel to these different towns to get these people. And what did you think of when they performed certain songs? It
Right.
was like fighting.
Yeah. I mean, I think the whole idea of the liquid sword, right, is not a literal sword; it's the sword of the tongue and all that. And
Right.
I thought the performances were it was pretty cool. I thought it was pretty cool. You know what I mean? How they integrated it. Yeah, man. I mean, maybe if they actually had some more kung fu fighting, it would have been cool too. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Um, but I get it. All right, that was his power. That was his power. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
Yeah, I was pretty cool with it. Like I like when Jizza did it. The dude who plays Jizza just does a fantastic job because he's a prime
yeah,
example of not trying to just sound like Jizza, but embodying the essence of what Jizza is, which is what he represents as a man and how he
right.
put that into his music. And so it makes it extra believable. Like you said, when he was with the street thugs and he kind of gave the monologue, he was getting teared up. I'm like, homie coming for the Emmy because I'm not watching the Woo anymore. I'm watching his performance, which is
Exactly.
great. One other thing I just want to big up, just because we've had these 3 episodes, but I gotta salute these actors because they're playing these characters, well, these real life people, but also when they do these allegorical episodes, they're able to expand their acting beyond just being the hip hop guy.
Right.
Now, I will say the dude that looks like Joe that plays Inspector Deck, he got to relax on the look, and because I'm just like, yo, you just got Inspector Deck looking like a creep, like a weirdo out here.
Yeah, for real. Since you talk about Inspector Deck, right? You know, we
Mhm.
had like the shit on his fingernails and all
Right,
that.
right,
I was like, that was giving off more RZA than anything.
right.
It
I thought
it,
so.
it felt misplaced. Like that ain't Deck's thing. That's more RZA's thing. Like with the
Right.
Grave Diggers, when he was yeah,
Yeah, that was. I thought so.
right.
Do you think it was because they were giving everybody a style, so to speak,
I think
that
so.
they
I
wanted to
think
give?
they were yeah. Yeah, I think they were giving us that, but I'm with you on Deck, man. It's like something about him. I want to like his character. It's like something about it feels off. It's like I don't want to sound like messed up, man. It's almost like he got ADHD or something, man. He can't stay still. You know what I mean?
Look, you're not alone. I was thinking it for sure. Like, well, maybe there's another Easter egg there that we do not know about.
Right.
But it just feels. I know what he's going for, right? Because when you go back and look at those videos, Inspector Deck always kind of had a side-eye way of looking in the camera, right?
Right.
Um, but this dude is like, I don't know, like creep status, like child
Right.
molester, like
Especially the scene with the girls too, like him doing that in that scene, and yeah.
right, right. Like, all I know, ladies, is coming. Like, what, yo, what's wrong with you? Like, he is the embodiment of what's good with your man's, right? like I don't want him around because of how he acts. Um,
Exactly.
I will say too, and I don't mean to do this. Every time Master Killer pop up, I'll be like, "Who the fuck is that?" And then I'm like, "Oh right, Master Killer." But
Right.
that dude did an excellent job as well because as soon as he popped up, I'm like, "Oh, he's a Buddha monk."
Mm,
Like, you know what I'm saying? Because he had the outfit on, he had the baldy and all that.
right. Now, did you notice that? I know they were giving all the characters names based on the joints, like the songs, and like
Mm.
Fourth Chamber alone, like the whole Chief Iref, right, Master Killer. That was from
Oh, right,
the High
right,
Priest Jamil Arif,
right,
right,
right.
and then the the warlord, whatever, right? Cyrus. That's from RZA's verse on Fourth Chamber. Also,
Right.
under the reign of King Cyrus, you could see a weakness of a man right through his iris. So
Right.
is all references. So that's what I picked up on my second watch of the episode. I'm like, I started picking up all the Easter eggs. So I thought that was pretty cool.
That's a good observation, Eddie, because I'm not gonna lie, when he first rolled up, I was like, okay, they just have a villain. I didn't
Right.
even think about the album cover until I saw Jizz'S with the crown and
At the
homie
end,
with
yeah,
the
yeah.
hoodie. As soon as he went like this, I was like, oh, they about to do the but yeah, that's I didn't notice that, but I didn't notice how consistent it was throughout. Because I noticed they did that with certain characters, and I
Certain
figured
characters, yeah.
that was just them. But it was pretty dope to see that and have all those Easter eggs in there. Now I will say this, and I'm sorry, we don't mean to bash this dude's performance. He is a good actor. He was in Equalizer 2. He was in what's the name of that movie? Moonchild. I don't remember what the Moonshine, whatever it was. Moon something. Where Mahershala Ali. He was in that movie. That I
Right.
believe Mahershala won an Oscar for. But
Yeah.
when he did RZA's part in that song, I was kind of upset because
Yeah.
RZA sounds like a psycho on the record. Nigga scaling your building. Like he's
Right.
animated. And this dude is deadpan as he walks around, and it's like,
Yeah.
did he watch? Did he listen to the record? Like,
Bro, I was almost to the point when I saw that part, I'm like, they should have just put the soundtrack over it, man. Just like forget having these dudes rap. I mean, I thought Jizz'S sounded good.
yeah.
I thought Jizz'S sounded good. Meth sounded pretty good, you know.
Yeah, he goes in and out of.
He goes in and out of it. Yeah. I mean, you guys sounded decent. You know what I mean? Ghost sounded good. I mean, but yeah, RZA sounded the worst.
Yeah, and look, Eddie, RZA's behind the camera. That's what
Right.
makes it worse. He not like,
Yeah.
yo. Let's pause that for a minute.
Oh,
Like this.
right. And I don't really like Deck's performance that much either. Like
Like,
Deck's performance left a little too desired there, man. It was like,
you
because
know,
the same, Deck brings all that energy into his, and it was just flat.
Right. It was flat. Yeah, you know what? Combined with that damn look, those damn finger jewelry, and the way he just the way he moves his body as Deck. You know, who he reminds me of those who have played Soul Calibur before. You know, the dude with the knives, Voldo or whatever his name is.
Yeah, it would be like flipping backwards and shit.
Right, he moves all weird. I swear, dude was giving. I couldn't remember when I was watching. I was like, yo, what is he doing? He reminds me of something. But yeah, I agree. I think it's a choice that's not really on the actors, right? Like if you're putting the show together, maybe they can afford to, I don't know, redo the lyrics, but not actually use them, because that could play a role. But I'm sorry, I guess there needs to be, and I'm thinking about Snowfall, which is on at the same time, knowing that, people playing characters from the West Coast are from Atlanta and Harlem and England, and you cannot tell me they're not from LA,
right?
Based off of the coaching. So I kind of feel like for example, I thought the Ghost joint was cool, but all I can remember is when me and my friends first saw that video, and he was like, "Why is the sky blue? Why is water wet? Why did Judas wet?" Like, it's the way he did it, and even the stand up. Remember, they were bent down and then they stood up. I was like, you don't understand what those moments mean to nostalgia wise, because that's what they're going after for fans like us. But to not see them like damn, he ain't stand up. Like just small shit. Like
Right, right.
he for damn sure starting to look like him. That's for damn sure. I ain't gonna lie. You go back look
Nah,
at them old ghost pics.
I actually thought like them redoing. Obviously, that's the joint video,
Right.
the shadow boxing fourth chamber joint video, whatever. And I kind of felt it may sound weird. It may sound weird, but I kind of felt like if they had did that, this like with the real Wu, right, with the real clan members, and did kind of like how Michael Jackson did that whole Moonwalker video,
Mm-hmm.
and in the midst of the Moonwalker video, he had the Smooth Criminal video, right?
Right. Right.
It's kind of reminding me of that because it was like this whole
Mm-hmm.
story, right? You following the whole story, and then you get to the music video, which is the Shadow Boxing Fourth Chamber.
Right.
And I was thinking, yo, if it was something like that, but with the actual clan, it would have been pretty dope. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Maybe not an hour long, maybe abbreviated a little bit more, but it
Right.
would have been pretty dope.
Yeah, I think no, I agree because it's similar, and this is no real spoiler, it's more of an endorsement. But if anybody out there has seen the Michael Jackson musical on Broadway,
Hmm.
they do this thing where Michael Jackson is preparing for the Dangerous tour, right? This is before the album drops. I think a single's out, and they're rehearsing. And during his rehearsal, all of his memories as a child, him coming to fame, him trying to meet the expectations of Thriller, after Bad, like just trying to have another album like that. And when they go to those different parts of his life, whether he goes back to himself as a child, they switch on stage to him as a kid. But Michael, current Michael, is still there in the scene. And
Hmm.
sometimes he sings with the younger version of him. And it's all like interconnected. The same actors that are like the manager in the rehearsal also plays Joe Jackson. And it's
Hmm.
really dope because it's all this changing, and you feel like you're traveling through time, but current Michael is with you, or present. And it's dope to see like Beat It Michael do a duet with Michael from Dangerous because
Right.
of how he felt at the time and how he still feels now. So when you say that, I think about it like, well, damn, would it have hurt if you saw the real Ghost or the real RZA? I wouldn't have felt like once you went back to the shows like, oh, that's not him. I would have felt like that's what happened. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Right.
Um,
No, I feel you. I feel you.
but maybe we're just being fans nitpicking a little bit. That's all. It's cool. It's fine. Um, the other thing, the other thing that stood out to me that I remembered loosely, and maybe is Jizz'S going, getting all these clan members. I don't know who the hell was that mathematics in the wheelchair? Like, who the hell was that?
I thought that was Ghost's little brother.
I thought it was for a second, but he might have
No.
aged and took the glasses off. From the,
I have no idea.
yeah,
That's
because
what I thought.
but then I can't remember what mathematics looked like, so I'm like, was that him? Um, but like he's going through and they're trying to get all the clan members, and when they get to Raekwon, and I really like this because it was so
Yeah, I like that part.
representative of who Ray had become based off the purple tape. And I think I remember, and you correct me if I'm wrong, but I think his mom's passed at
Right.
some point where his stardom took off. Is that true?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, because I think I remember him talking about that and how he felt. And I thought it was dope for them to kind of represent this king who's in the castle and he has all these things, but he's not happy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, I liked it because what I mean. Like most of the other clan members, like he's gathering up, it's pretty easy. They're like, oh wow, now I'm hearing real hip hop, man. I'm on board, yo. Like let's do this. You know what I mean? Just putting their headphones on them, right? But with that, it was some real shit. Like he has a legit argument. Like, bro, like you know, I'm doing this for the fans, man, but they don't care about me. Like none of them care when my mom died. They just want me to go back on tour. They want me to do another interview. They want me to do this and that. 100% legit, man. I felt him on that.
Yeah, because if I'm not mistaken, Ray is not on the album. If he is, maybe he's just talking at some point.
On Liquid Swords? Nah, he's on he's on a joint. He's on a joint investigative reports.
Right, he is on investigative reports.
He sets it off, but I don't think they had him do his verse on this episode though.
No. They didn't. They kind of played it up like he was, and maybe he was the last to get right on the album, but they played it up like that, which I thought was just so dope because it was just a metaphor for what was really happening, and I think they pulled that off. Now there was one other theme that was basically, I won't even say tease because it was pretty blatant, especially if you know. But man, they were going at the shiny suit era, the rapping bullshit, R&B. I think the Ladies Jacket said that. What did you think about them and as representative of the time, but them taking those shots at the change in rap and the money and stuff like that, money chasing?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, man, that's. I mean, if they're gonna do it about Jizz'S, like that's Jizz'S, man. He's just like the hip hop purist, you know what I mean? Even having King Cyrus and just blatantly saying, we're getting pop artists to spread our message and blah blah blah, you know what I mean? And and like, yeah, real hip hop is the only thing that could cure this disease of
right.
Yeah. I mean, dramatic, but you know what I mean? I see, and we talked about on different podcasts, talking about kind of like the divide. This was 95, so I want to say more of that divide was happening. We're like 97, right? Once you start hitting 97, which in some instances, it kind of made me feel like some of the stuff that they were trying to address felt like it hadn't happened yet.
Right.
But maybe they were foreshadowing. I don't know.
Yeah, I think a little bit of it was happening, right? And because Bad Boy didn't take over, but they was just as popular, if not more popular, than the Wu in 95. Mm-hmm. Ice Cream kept the Wu in the game because it was a record hit, and ODB on Fantasy and Meth and Mary, like it kept the Wu relevant when Bad Boy was starting to make some noise with Biggie and the type of records they were doing. But you're right, I think in 97 was when it was like, okay, now they running shit, right? Like everybody trying to make a record like that. Nothing's organic. Bad Boy is probably bigger than ever at this point, especially in 97 when Biggie died. Like they went on a hell of a run, at least from the spring to the summer. So yeah, I could see they were kind of foreshadowing it. And again, like you said, Jizz'S was like, stop all that whack shit on the second album. So this is true to who he was and what he felt. Which is, which was pretty dope to see. And I like how they set up labels, because at first I didn't see it coming, right? I was like, oh, they got the reggaeton rappers and the South rappers and they about to just beef. But then when Master Killer came out and set it off, I was like, oh, they don't do it. It was just a dope episode, man.
That was a dope, yeah. No, for sure, man, and that's why I thought definitely out of the allegorical ones, it was the best one, for all the reason we mentioned, I mean, I feel like they kept true to the artist, they kept true to the theme, they kept it in the flow of the story, so it felt like there was continuity. Because
Right.
where we left off, he was trying to get all the clan members on the album and all that, right? So it just kind of moves in, kept the themes, like, told a dope story. I mean, I feel like as a standalone story, it was dope. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I think if you're gonna make something like that into like a standalone movie, maybe you got to clean it up a little bit and add a little bit more. But for it to be an episode, it was pretty dope.
Yeah, I totally agree, man. And I also agree with it being the best of the 3 allegorical episodes, because even though I didn't mind the ODB episode, I thought it could be confusing to some.
Right.
That album wasn't fresh enough in my mind for me to catch whatever little things were there, but I also didn't think there was a lot there. And with Purple Tape, I liked it better than the ODB episode, but even with that, it was like I thought they could have did a better job. Then it was too many Easter eggs at this point. It was like all Easter eggs, and it's like, well, the story sucks. This had the story, it had the Easter eggs, it had the nostalgia, it had some excellent acting from the actor, right? Like, you really felt like, yo, he know that. He know Kung Fu. He trying to bring hip hop back. It just was really well done. So hats off to RZA for writing it and directing it, because I think most fans like the album. And for example, like, my wife couldn't remember if she even heard it, right? Because she's a Wu fan, but she like who she like, right? She liked Ghosts. She had heard most of Purple Tape, didn't realize it was on the same album, but she was saying the same thing here. Like, damn, I might like Liquid Swords, but she felt like she might have heard it and just forgot, so I think it did more for Jizz'S and the legend of his album, which honestly, we always hear about Purple Tape, when Jizz'S album was just as dope. And he said as much. Now, what do you think about that part where he was like, this better than that Purple Tape shit?
Yeah.
I was
Yeah. I mean, he was being blunt about it. I mean, I think he absolutely felt like it. You know what I mean? He felt like it. I mean, I think no slight to his brothers. I mean, I think it's friendly competition, but definitely felt like, he had his own message. You know what I mean? He got his clan members and he put together a solid album. I mean, concise. I mean, Purple Tape was like 18 tracks. Liquid Swords was 13. 13 tracks, concise. They all flow well. And I always say this, like, it's my favorite Wu-Tang solo, Liquid Swords is. You know what I mean? And I know the comparisons, the debate goes on and on. I'll even tell people, I'm like, I'll give you, if you think a Purple Tape is the greatest Wu-Tang solo, right? I agree with that. The greatness can't be denied. But as far as the best, I think it's up in the air. And my personal favorite is definitely Liquid Swords.
Yeah, man, it's an album that I've always appreciated and loved. But I think this episode gave me a greater appreciation, or just reminded me of how dope this album was, and more importantly, how dope Jizz'S was on this record, and just in general. I don't think he always gets the props he deserves as an MC, as a soloist, especially someone who entered the game basically having to be like Father MC or Big Daddy Kane.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Which I thought was crazy when Devon was saying that about, yo, you need to do this. And when Jizz'S looked at him, I was like, are you telling him what he had to do? Like, he just came back from that hell.
Right. What he told him is like, man, I'm the one who had to go learn the culture in the Bronx. You know what I mean?
Right. Exactly. Yeah. So, yeah, pretty dope episode. Did you have any other notes on that episode?
Yeah, let me check. I had a bunch. I definitely I know you touched on it. I thought the radio station thing was dope and how they were tying in the lyrics to their cryptic,
Right.
messages, right? And you guys like, yo, why don't you just say it? They were like, nah, because if we just say it, they're gonna take us off air. We got to be cryptic. And,
Right.
yeah. So I thought that was dope. Let me see.
I thought they were just locking up, trapping light skinned people because I was like, why they just threw why they locked them in there? Like what the hell was that about? And why
Yeah, and
you don't want sweat?
and then the last, I mean, it's pretty obvious was how that map that they're filling is the shape of the Wu-Tang logo. Connecting it all together with
Hmm.
that Wu emblem, obviously, and yeah, and then in the end, it kind of leads into the album cover, right? So
Yeah.
it's kind of like, because I know I can't be the only one. It's like you're looking at the album cover and it's so vivid. It's like, damn, like what kind of battle they have in there, man? Like,
Right.
so it's kind of adds a new element to it.
Yeah. Yeah. When I remember when I first saw the album cover, I was like, yo, this is one of the dopest shits ever just because it's like it's this battle, it's chess,
Right.
right?
It's
At the
just
same time. Um it was
they
real
had that dude in the torture device where his head was trapped.
right. The flying guillotine. That's
The
what that
flying
joint
gets
is.
yeah.
Which, if you watch the Kung Fu flick, it makes absolutely no sense. They throw that shit. It's not even
No,
open. Somehow it opens and
it
then
opens
cuts
it.
your
Yeah,
head off and
yeah. I've
takes
seen it. I've seen it.
uh
Yins, your partner in crime. Yins actually was the one who like put me on to watch all this stuff, man, because
oh
he's
yeah.
totally into all them old school kung fu, and so I started watching some with my brother, man, when my brother had came to visit, and so
Mhm.
I was like, "Yo, Yins, man, we saw this and that. What else should we watch?" And he was telling me, "Yeah, you got to watch the Five Deadly Venoms, the Flying Guillotine, and this and that." So he was
Right.
putting me on. He was putting me on.
Yeah, he knows a lot. I've asked him about a couple of those things. I even had an idea for him, but we'll see what happens. One of the things with the covers that came back to with that cover that came back to me at this ending scene, which I thought it was dope to see them recreate it, but then I was just like, so Jizza has a straight up sword at your neck. Well, like what the fuck was he getting ready to do? Cyrus, he was just about to like grab the crown, like you're going to die. He has the sword on your ass. Like I just always thought that was crazy. Like, okay, maybe he got. I was just, how you look at a cover and
Right, right.
start adding your imagination to what you see there.
Like he was
Uh,
about to throw a fireball or some shit. Like,
yeah, I was like, okay, well, maybe he's loading up of some magic or some shit. I don't know. But yeah,
like
man.
Shang
Any other?
Tsung. Yeah.
Right, right. Any other notes you wanted to share?
I think that's it as far as my notes, man. I'm all tapped out
Okay.
there.
All right. Well, what did you think about season 3, episode 8, Liquid Swords? About the Jizz'S album. Did you like the episode? Do you think it's the best of the three? Did you like the album? Did you feel like it was a great metaphor for the making of this album? Leave your comments in the comment section below. Now, there are only, and I actually lost it, but now I got it back, I think. There are only 10 or 2 more episodes left because it's 10 episodes for the season. The next episode up is episode 9, entitled After the Smoke is Clear. Here's the quick description. In the penultimate episode of the series, Ghostface reflects on the sacrifices of his past while dealing with the bittersweet outcome of his artistic success. Meanwhile, RZA ventures to take a different approach for the clan's next album that we all know to be Wu-Tang Forever.
Right.
So Optimistic about the ending of the season with only 2 episodes to go?
I think so. I mean, I do think one thing that's kind of rubbed me a little wrong is that, and I think you've talked about it on here, is, the Wu Mansion was supposed to be for a Wu-Tang Forever. And they already kind of introduced it and all that, right? So It's kind of like, so now what do they do for that? Obviously, I think the Wu-Tang Forever thing is only going to be the last episode, which in a way, I don't feel like that's going to be able to do it justice, but we'll see.
Right. Well, the last episode is entitled Triumph. So they've already been, which when you think about the season, it kind of makes sense for where they're trying to go. ODB is still here. It was a sign of Wu-Tang being together again, Wu-Tang Forever. And it's hands down their second best album to me. Definitely a classic and a double album. Absolutely. So we'll see how it pans out, man. Eddie, I just want to thank you for coming through, chatting with me, talking about this album, this episode, this series. Tell people where they could follow you, where they could follow Freed Styles, check out what you're working.
Yes, sir, man. You can catch me on Twitter at EddieD80. I'm on Instagram at Freed Styles. That's FreedStyles.
All right. And you can follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok for now at Vegas World INC. You can check out my weekly podcast, which is a hip hop news and perspectives podcast called Hip Hop Now Podcast. If you're watching this video, subscribe to the channel. You'll see the episodes every week. But also, if you're a podcast listener, Hip Hop Now Podcast is available on all podcasting platforms. Until next time, on behalf of my guest, Eddie, we are not critics, fans. Peace.
Absolutely.